guys, Mike here. So, boy, what a roller coaster of a day. And again, I think the thumbnail I put out yesterday was perfect timing, and you cannot make this stuff up, guys. I mean, I'm going to show you, but we're talking about sell off because supposedly tariffs go into place, huge run up, and then if you didn't catch the last 15 minutes a day, massive rundown, and then in after hours, I already went back and had to add stuff to this video because of that. Now, all of a sudden, the Commerce Secretary comes out and says, I think Trump's going to meet him in the middle somewhere. He might even roll back the tariffs tomorrow. So now futures are going, see you later. You know, and now they're taking off again after giving all the gains back on the SPY and the Qs. And so this is, I mean, what a roller coaster, man. It's because I have a YouTube channel, it's exhausting. If I was just a regular person, it wouldn't be exhausting. But I mean, you keep having to go back and forth. It's nuts. Okay. I mean, unbelievable. But I will show you the charts. Now, understand, I'm going to show you a few things that could, I mean, if you're wondering, can the market go back up? So we talked about, again, once we hit the 200, that's what we got to see. And when you see these bounces, okay, I told people in Discord, right, basically what's happening, that we're going to, you know, everybody's calling for this technical bounce. Here we are at the 200, the QQQ, right sub 200, bounces back up. The RSPs, I'll show you, 200 moving average, major ETFs hitting the 200 moving average. There's going to be a bounce. And what's bouncing? The MAX 7. Why? Because they have underperformed. They've been dogs all year long, okay? And so when they get a bounce because they have such heavy weights, you're going to see that. That's going to happen. I mean, that's a technical bounce. Does it turn into something more? That's what we got to see. That's the big thing. And we'll go into the charts real quick and look at that. But understand, for those who, you know, still seem to be surprised or baffled about what the Trump administration is doing, you know, here's somebody who works for the Trump administration real quick, showing you what they are doing.
I think over the medium term, which is what we're focused on, it's a focus on Main Street. Wall Street's done great. Wall Street can continue to do fine. But we have a focus on small business and the consumers. So we are going to rebalance the economy. We're going to bring manufacturing jobs home.
And the one thing you're seeing, I'll keep you updated on this, because most channels won't, is these cuts are starting to be rejected faster and faster, okay? This is June. Now, all of a sudden, we're going to roll up here. And remember, we're at 400, 425 with that cut, right? All of a sudden, here we go right here in July. They're going in for a cut in July. And then the next meeting in September, they're calling for another cut. So they're calling for 3 cuts in a row now. These were spaced out, okay, throughout the months. Not anymore. And so this is what keeps happening, is the 10-year keeps falling and all this data keeps coming in. Remember, we got major data tomorrow, okay? So this could change everything, okay? But right now, what we're getting in the market is a technical bounce. I mean, everybody in the mother was, you know, looking at it. And of course, a tweet can change the world. What else we got to look at? Seasonality. Seasonality helped bring us down. Will it bring us out of this stuff, okay, for a rally here? You can see basically maybe the mid-March right there up. In April, April is a really good month. You see it going up, okay? So far, seasonality worked out in that mid-February down for sure into the beginning of March. We'll see if that's what's going to help us get out of this stuff. Are we out of the woods yet? We'll have to find out. And again, I like to put 2 sources on this. So that is one source. If you look at another source, it kind of gives you a different perspective. 60 to 80% of the time. 60% of the time, March green. 80% of the time, April right there. So that, you know, that's what you're looking at. So April usually is a really, really good month. You know, it could be because everybody's already getting their tax returns back in March and all that stuff in April, and they're plowing it into the market. Or they're trying to say, oh, wait a minute, you got to meet the deadline to put, you can put this IRA money in now, and I'm talking about traditional IRA, to get your tax deduction. And so that could be happening as well for people who wait for the last minute. And so another thing, don't forget, all year long, this is going to be happening. $1.16 trillion in buybacks this year. You don't think that's happening as these stocks have been coming down? You dang skippy it has. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And Apple, of course, will be the biggest one doing that. And of course, this was the thumbnail I put out yesterday. It's like, this is what needs to happen next, and that is what we got today, as you can see. So let's go into the charts here. Boom, end up hitting the 200 moving average, gave back all the gains since November 5th. Every penny of them gone. QQQ, 200, boom, there it is. Again, gave back all the gains. Completely history eliminated. See you later. Okay. And you go to SPY, and of course I had to add this back in at the last minute. Look at this. This is 345, I believe it is. Almost a 2% drop on the SPY in a matter of 28 minutes after it grinded up all day long. All right, stairs up and the elevator shaft down. There's QQQ. boom, just absolutely rocket shipping down in a very short amount of time, almost 2%. That's just nuts. SPY actually went all the way back to its opening price, for crying out loud. And now, of course, with that tweet coming out, he may roll back tariffs again. We'll see how that's going to go. We do got some big data in the morning. So for those who are worried about recession, that's the data you're going to want to be watching and stuff. So if it comes out good, market's going to go crazy. It comes out like, oh my God, there's going to be a recession. Well, the market might not do so well. So we'll have to see. But again, that's how the market actually ended. And it was like the Qs were up nicely. I mean, absolutely nicely. It was a crazy rally from the bottoms right there. But one to watch is going to be RSP. Remember, RSP did not set a new high. And what is it doing? It's bouncing on its 200. Everything's coming into this 200. 200 is a powerful moving average. Nothing good happens below it, right? And so this one didn't set a new all-time high. And this is, of course, what you mean when you look at breadth, okay? And this one's been not looking very good. The SPY did set a new all-time high. This one didn't even come close to it. So we need to see what this one's going to do. This is kind of key right here. All right, so keep an eye on it. Again, getting above 180 would be really good for this one. If you're looking at where the SPY could go tomorrow, this is where I'd be targeting right here. This 4-hour fair value gap. That's going to be liquidity. You see that crazy wick to the left right there? This is a 4-hour chart. Look at that. Mitigated the other 4-hour fair value gap. So if we get this run up overnight, start heading up green tomorrow on data and stuff, be looking anywhere from 588, 591, somewhere in that area to be mitigated. And we'll see what happens when it gets in there. Normal, when you hit these large fair value gaps, you get a slowdown. Again, that seems like a lot, but you saw the moves today, right? I mean, absolutely insane moves today. So watch that. And again, you want to hold the 200 to the downside. Okay, we'll talk about it. If we break the 200, we'll talk about where we're going. If that's the case, here's a trend line. You can see clear downtrend right here, as we can see. But again, the market's only down like 7% max at this point in time, which you would think would be more. The Qs did actually reach 9.95% or something today, down. But the reason why it was leading, it was so much stronger in the SPY because the Mag 7, right? I mean, Tesla comes down, gets below the 200 again, starts to fill that gap for November 5th. So I hadn't given back every penny of the election, gap earnings and stuff, close. Amazon bouncing on its 200 right there. Shocker. I mean, we talked about this yesterday, coming down to the 200. It got there. Meta just bouncing off support right here. No major moving average there. Again, Google's below the 200. It's getting a bounce, but this one right here is at support, right? You pull up your volume range, volume profile. PLC is right there, so great support. So it is getting a bounce. What needs to happen, though, got to get above 175.46. That is going to be key, 175.46, okay? That's going to be big for Google. Apple's still holding there, nothing to talk about. This one's still strong right now. Look at Microsoft over here, getting a bounce where it needs to get it, right? Right there, that 100-week moving average, the zone where it's bounced and bounced, because if it doesn't bounce here and it breaks that moving average, we're heading down between 370, 375, somewhere in that area, right? Before you really get a new kind of area of support from Microsoft, okay? And it's heavily weighted, so this one needs to go, okay? It definitely looks like distribution to me, that's for sure. NVDA finally got a bounce, came down to 110, and I know buyers are stepping in. Boy, they were stepping in hardcore. Calls started just rolling in on this thing, and it got pushed up till it went almost, it was up almost 4% after being down in the morning by almost 3.5. So, big move up for it, but again, it has to get above the 200 moving average, okay? So somewhere between 120 and 125 is really, I think, going to be the battleground for this one. If it can get above that, again, we'll get above the 200 and then start to higher. But when you look at this one overall, you clearly see the downtrending channel. That was a lower low on a higher time frame, a daily time frame set this morning. And so when we come back up, the two things to look at is we're either going to come back up, get rejected at the 200, okay, because it does not, and another thing is, it doesn't want to close below the 50-week moving average this week. That's not a good thing to see. So don't be surprised to get pushed up by that by Friday if we start to continue to move higher, okay? But if it moves up and then we get rejected here at the 200, obviously what is that? That is another lower high set on this thing, okay? And that's not what it wants to do. And so, again, then we'll come down and see if we're going to break 110 or not for a lower low. Could come up and reject the 200, come down, but then not set the lower low and then move up. And if it gets past 135, that puts it out of this channel. It gets it breaking out of this downtrending channel, okay? And so we're just going to have to wait. You have to wait and see. You have to go level by level on the stuff. That's just the way it's got to be right now. All right, everybody thought we were out of the woods on Friday, and then we come in and set some new lows, right? So is this it? Is it the capitulation moment where everybody's like, oh my goodness, and then we'll rally up and then maybe see worse on later this year? That's what we got to find out. It's super volatile. Stocks. This is going to tell you a lot, right? Getting this bounce right here on the 50-week moving average, bouncing where it needs to bounce, because if it don't, and the reason why they keep saving it in this zone right here, because there ain't much support below, because of that volume gap. If it falls down, it's going between 194 and 200 right there. Okay, and it'll probably come pretty quickly because there's just not a whole lot of support on that ETF. And when you look at the holdings in this one, you can see what has the fall. It's going to be Avgo, believe it or not, is number one in this one. NVDA, Qualcomm, Texas Instruments, AMD, good Lord. You know, I mean, so you look at the top like 6, that makes up 50% of it. But if Avgo and NVIDIA start to fall, the rest of them will obviously be drugged down by those two. And so this is key. It's 10% of the S&P. 10%, 1/10 of it is semiconductors. So keep that in mind. Of course, a lot more on the Qs for sure. So that's what we're looking at on that one. And again, you go over here to some more technology, IGV. What's it doing? Gave back all its gains since the election, but it's bouncing off the 200 moving average. Like the 200 moving average, get a t-shirt, put it on there today. That's what this is. This is moving day at the 200 moving average. Okay, I don't think it's a coincidence. It's a very strong, you can see in the past where it's bounced off this thing, what happens when it does. And so this is what you want to see. And get another t-shirt that says nothing good happens below the 200. Okay, you can see very clearly there in 2022 how many times it bounced off of it before finally breaking it and crashing down. But you can see right there, 89, 81 is where it wants to bounce if it does come down. All right, that is key. Now, what can help it? Probably going to help is CrowdStrike on its earnings right here. That's in the top 10 if I'm not mistaken. It can start to pull up all the rest of these, start getting ignited, start igniting a fire in a rally here. That's what we got to find out if it's going to be a dead cat bounce or is it actually going to have legs to it, okay? Speaking of more earnings, you'll have a lot more of the retailers, okay? Abercrombie & Fitch, Foot Locker, then we'll get Marvel. Afterwards, Zscaler, MongoDB, Victoria's Secrets, Lending Tree is going to be another one. And then the data. It's always fun. ADP non-farm employment change at 8:15, so not 8:30, 8:15. Final services PMI, ISM services PMI, factory orders month over month, crude oil inventories, okay? So buckle up, and we'll see if they got any more tweets about tariffs and things like that. But anyway, hope you got some out of it. Let me know how your day went. Pretty interested to see what you were doing. Please hit that like, subscribe button on your way out. Think about signing up for the membership. Less than McDonald's combo. And I will see you guys for what will be another fun one.